Chapter 3. You should probably take that off before you see him, dear. We don't usually like them being worn when we're out and about. Yet another confusing convention. A necklace you weren't supposed to wear. With help from Stephanie, Cassandra looked into where the church on Father Ryan's card was located and what his hours were. Cassandra recognized the church from a few encounters she had just outside of it, but had never really gone within. Sunlight shone through the brightly colored stained glass windows and depicted images she wasn't quite sure how to process. Chandeliers hung over rows and rows of pews, which she could only presume would be uncomfortable to sit in. At the front of the room stood a decorated altar, a podium, and a box of some kind full of candles. In the center, both in glass and carved in wood, was the same figure of the rosary, hanging from the T shape. Cassandra mentally reviewed what she'd picked up over the years. The man's name was Jesus, and he was depicted as he was dying. This was always confusing to her. Everything she knew seemed to indicate he was a good man, so why was he so regularly shown the way he died? Maybe this would be the day she found out. "Excuse me, is there something I can help you with?" She jumped a little at the sound of the woman with brown hair bound into a bun behind her, garbed in a white sweater and khakis. Cassandra herself wore a hooded sweatshirt and jeans. The rosary hung from her neck. It was not the same one Father Ryan gave her, which was tucked inside of a zippable inside pocket of the hoodie, but another she purchased. She hoped to look as if she meant to be there, but not make it obvious she was the one who saved him. She thought quite a bit about which identity to approach him in, but ultimately decided Cassandra would be best. Bruce forbid her from using her uniform for anything but crime-fighting work anyway. And, after all, Father Ryan said he hoped to see her outside of costume if she returned. "George Ryan," Cassandra said. "Wanted to see the Monsignor." She managed to say it right on her first try. "I think he's a little tied up at the moment, but we can definitely go see. Did you have some questions?" the woman asked. "Many," Cassandra said. "All right, well, come this way." She gestured Cassandra out of the chapel proper and into a hallway connected to the entrance. Cassandra quietly thought over her cover. If asked why she didn't speak much or seem direct, it was a two-way street. English was her second language, and her parents had instructed her to speak very directly. If she were asked to read, she would maintain she did not know the language well enough. The very real Chinese ancestry on her maternal side would help with the illusion. In the meantime, she reminded herself, she just had to stay calm and ask her questions carefully. The woman she spoke to stopped to peek into the office and asked a few questions before she turned to Cassandra, bid she remove the rosary from her neck, and told her to enter. Father Ryan's office was decorated with a number of landscape paintings and certificates all along the walls, and a bookshelf on the right side of his desk. The desk itself had a number of trinkets strewn across it, including another rosary, a small wooden T-shape, framed photos of the Monsignor of other people, one of whom looked exactly like him. A laptop was set aside, and a number of papers sat centermost, next to a cup of coffee and a half of a cold-cut sandwich. To Cassandra's pleasant surprise, Snowball, curled up and seemingly asleep, also laid on the desk. The tiny dog perked up a little as Cassandra entered. "Hello there." Father Ryan motioned she enter and take the seat in front of his desk. Come in. You're not allergic to dogs, are you?" "No," Cassandra said. "Excellent. Better safe than sorry, you know." He stroked the dog's fur a little before he extended one of his arms. "I don't believe we've met. My name is Monsignor George Ryan, and this is Snowball. Lin Wu-san." Cassandra took his hand and shook it. She had contemplated using her real name, but figured that might only make things more complicated if he looked her up and discovered she was the latest of Bruce Wayne's adopted children. "Lin, what can I do for you? Let me warn you real quick, I need to look over some of these things while we're talking. I just got out of the hospital and need to do some catching up." "Yes, of course," Cassandra said. "I'm very sorry." "Oh, I'm feeling fine now," Father Ryan said. "Jessica said you had some questions for me?" "Yes. Read about what happened the other night. It wasn't a lie. A short story had been published in the newspaper." "If this is about the Batgirl, I can't tell you anything," Father Ryan chuckled. "She saved me, but I hardly had a chance to say thank you." "No, not that," Cassandra said. "Read what you said about the men. The ones who attacked you." "I'm actually thinking about giving this Sunday's sermon on what happened," Father Ryan said. It was an awful experience, to be sure, but we can always learn something from those who are in bad places in their lives. A time for everything, you know? Cassandra looked at him blankly. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot. Now Cassandra was left to contemplate those words as well. Those were all things she knew about, of course, everyday things, but being ambushed in an alley and beaten by criminals did not seem like such a normal thing. At least it wasn't supposed to be. And yet Father Ryan treated it completely in passing. Cassandra meant to wait longer before going on, but could not stop herself from asking, "What is a Catholic?" Father Ryan gave her a little more of his chuckle as he took a sip from his coffee mug. "Surely you mean what we're all about, right?" When her expression did not change, he frowned a little. "Oh, you were being literal?" "Yes." Father Ryan blinked twice and adjusted himself in his seat. "Well, I'm a little surprised you came to me for that. Well, historically, Catholicism is the oldest branch of Christianity." Cassandra knew that word. She was sure of it. It was related to Christmas. At least she was sure of that much. But she did not think she understood it entirely. "I'm not from America," she said. "Not much Christianity where I come from." "That explains a few things, actually," Father Ryan said. Cassandra had to bat an eye at this in her mind, but didn't think he was trying to be condescending. "Well, the most basic aspect is simply that Christians follow and believe in the words and deeds of Jesus Christ." "Good man," Cassandra said in her mind. "More, please." "Well," Father Ryan set aside his papers, as if to offer her more attention. "Christianity holds that 2,000 years ago, God came to earth in the form of a man named Jesus." God, Cassandra thought. Another concept she knew, but never really meditated upon. And Jesus came to earth to do many miracles and ultimately to die for our sins. Die for our sins. Cassandra had heard similar words many times. Many of the supervillains she and others faced over the years had brought with them the promise, Gotham will die for its sins. A sin, she gathered, was an act of evil. There were those kinds of criminals who came to Gotham to punish it for its many criminals that it had produced. But why did this God-man die for our sins? "What does that mean?" Cassandra asked. "Die for our sins." "Oh my." Father Ryan shook his head a little. "I hoped your questions would have been easier than this. Listen, Lynn, I sponsor a Bible study for young men and women your age. Maybe you could try coming there and I could answer your questions in a better setting. I'm terribly sorry, but Snowball and I have so much work to do." "It's fine," Cassandra said, unsure of how much she was lying and how much she was trying to figure out what a Bible study would be. "Well, great. Here." Father Ryan passed her a card identical to the one he gave her before and jotted some information down. "We meet at 6 p.m. on Wednesday nights." He rose from his chair, walked to the bookcase, and pulled one of the giant tomes out from it. "And if you'd like, you can take this with you as well." "I can't read English," Cassandra said. Her pace picked up with the last word. "I think I might have one in Mandarin. Can you read Mandarin?" No, the first is fine," Cassandra said. "I have friends. They can help." "Well, here you are then." Father Ryan passed her the enormous book. "And I hope to see you again very soon." As Cassandra made her way out of the office, her mind swiftly turned to how Bruce would respond to this latest bit of detective work. She also contemplated how he would tackle the big book. A study with other people sounded difficult, given her struggles with socialization, but maybe one of her other allies could give her a hand reading it.